Welcome to the John Morse room, more commonly referred to as the murder room. You're standing in the notorious room where Abby Borden, the stepmother of the infamous Lizzie Borden, was viciously killed on the morning of August 4th, 1892. Now, more than a century later, this is the most requested room for overnight stays in the Lizzie Borden axe murder house. You're probably familiar with the nursery rhyme used to soothe small children to sleep. Lizzie Borden took an axe. She gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. By the end of this tour, you'll understand that nearly none of that's true. So, fair warning, the gory details of these murders are graphic and unsettling. Let's start from the beginning. Did Lizzie Borden take an axe? She was put on trial for the murders. However, she was ultimately acquitted. No one's ever been convicted, and this crime remains unsolved to this day. Next, the murder weapon wasn't actually an axe, but a hatchet. A hatchet's much smaller and lighter and easier to wield. Suspiciously, a hatchet matching the wounds was found in the basement of the Borden house, a basement that could only be entered from inside the house. Unfortunately, forensic science wasn't advanced in River Falls, Massachusetts during the Victorian era, so they were never able to prove that it was the actual murder weapon. During the murder, the only people home were Lizzie, Abby, and their young maid, Bridget Sullivan. Bridget and Lizzie last report seeing Abby alive around 9 a.m. A half hour later, Abby was crept upon by a hatchet-wielding maniac who caught her completely off guard. There were no signs of a struggle, no defensive wounds, but there was a deep cut behind her left ear, a deep cut between her shoulder blades, and then several blows behind the head and neck. She must have been dead within the first few blows, yet her attacker continued to strike over and over for a total of 19 times, a number that would later be exaggerated for the nursery rhyme, for the kids. Anyway, during the murder, Lizzie says that she was downstairs ironing handkerchiefs. This was 1892. There would have been no TV, no radio drowning out any sound, which begs the question how such violence could occur just up the steps without being heard. An hour and a half later, the killer would strike again, this time attacking Lizzie's father, Andrew Borden, in his sitting room. Again, there were no signs of a struggle and no defensive wounds. Police think that he probably just dozed off to a nap when he was attacked. He suffered 10 to 11 blows, mostly to his face, by the same hatchet. But I guess if the nursery rhyme would have been, a hatchet was grabbed by who knows. They gave Miss Borden 19 blows. When they saw what they had done, they gave her man about half that sum. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it.